A few weeks ago, I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and my thesis came out. So I told him that I'm working with something related to turbulent flows. And then I went to explain to him that turbulence is this magnificent chaotic system that arises in fluid mechanics that is quite difficult. It has a fractal nature, infinite dimensions in phase space, and despite being completely deterministic, we heavily have to rely on statistics and randomness in order to be able to predict the flow in some kind of way. I told him that also one of the reasons why it's so difficult is because the math is incomplete, such that you will get $1 million just to prove or disprove the existence and smoothness of the solutions of the equations. You don't even have to find them, you just have to prove that they exist or not. So it's obviously a difficult problem. And obviously I was talking on and on about this, and my friend was giving me this weird look with his face. When I finally stopped, he looked at me and asked, "Why? Why are you doing this to yourself? Why don't you just stop whatever you're researching and go to the industry and work as a mechanical engineer and get paid 2-3 times as much?" I stopped for a second to really answer his question, and I came out with an analogy that I think it did a good job. I told him that when you get into a research such as how I'm doing now, it's like when you're dating an extraordinary woman and you start to realize that you're falling in love. It's in that second when you know that you're fucked. So let me explain. In fluid mechanics, you have this early distinction that you can make between laminar flows and turbulent flows. So more or less, you can do the same with people in relationships, more or less. So you can say that a laminar flow, a laminar relationship, a laminar woman is someone that is absolutely beautiful and predictable, easygoing. You feel very comfortable with her. Things really come easy. And well, the downside is that it's not very exciting. It's quite, boring, some would say. It's definitely not a challenge. And not that I have absolutely anything against laminar flows. I think they're amazing. Like, Destin, if you're watching this, I love turbulent laminar flows. But they are nowhere as exciting as turbulent flows. So let me explain. When you go to turbulent flows, instead of having this organized, beautiful, smooth thing, you will get something that is messy. And all is because the nonlinear term of the acceleration in the equations, the advective acceleration, then that term is basically a bitch. It's the one that makes everything complicated, but also the one that makes everything exciting. So you can picture a turbulent flow, a turbulent woman, let's say, as someone who is kind of messy. Kind of like she doesn't have her shit figured out yet, and yet she manages to be outstanding, like an amazing human being. Like she's happy and extraordinary, excited, different, and she makes things a bit difficult and sometimes uncomfortable, but that makes you that creates a room for you to grow and learn and be better yourself. She's the kind of person that it's gonna take you 10 to 15 minutes into a conversation and one beer for you to tell to yourself, holy shit, this woman is amazing. I need to know her better. And then you do. And then if you're lucky enough, you'll get to see her at her best, like doing whatever it is that she loves. And that is amazing. It's like fireworks coming out of nowhere, and you feel like this coziness feeling, like hygge feeling. And it's like when you're looking at a bonfire or looking at the northern lights, it's this feeling of something that is random and unpredictable and yet somehow familiar and exciting. It's beautiful. The best part about something like that, it's not just that. It's not how she makes you feel about herself. It's how she makes you feel about yourself. You see, the thing about facing these uncomfortable problems and not so easy situations is that everything else in your life and in general seems to be easier. So you just start to trust yourself more. You start to have more confidence to do things, to pretend to be better, and then you are better. You become a better version of yourself by working on something like turbulence, or by being with someone as this turbulent woman that I'm describing. And of course it's amazing and it's a hell of a ride, but Obviously, not everything is sunshines and rainbows. There are bad days, and maybe everything will end up in disaster and catastrophe. But even then, it's okay. If you try and fail, it's fine. What you know it's not okay is that you know that you will not be able to forgive yourself if you had a chance and you didn't even try. So you have to give it a chance. At the end of the conversation, he said something that I agree is a fair conclusion. He said, uh, with a smile on his face, he said that it's fair to say that I like my woman how I like my equations. Non-trivial. I totally agree. I totally agree with that statement. And I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it goes to say that it's better to have something that it's meaningful than something that is just, I don't know, comfortable and easy. It's my opinion.